What if the thing standing between you and a flatter stomach wasn't your effort, your discipline, or even your diet, but something invisible quietly working against you every single morning? Imagine waking up, looking in the mirror, and feeling that same frustration again, the kind that builds slowly over time. You've tried eating less, moving more, cutting things out, adding things in, yet that stubborn belly fat refuses to leave. It almost feels personal, like your body is ignoring you. And that's exactly where most people get it wrong, because this isn't about trying harder. It's about understanding what your body is actually doing behind the scenes. Every morning, before you even take your first sip of coffee or check your phone, your body is already making decisions for you. It's deciding whether today will be a fat-burning day or a fat-storing one. And the truth is, most people unknowingly push themselves into fat storage mode within the first 10 minutes of waking up. Not because they're careless, but because nobody ever explained how powerful that early window really is. You wake up in a fasted state, your hormones are shifting, your metabolism is waking up, and your body is extremely sensitive to what you do next. Think about this for a second. You go to bed at night, and for hours, your body is in a repair mode. It's processing, detoxifying, balancing hormones, and trying to reset. Then morning comes, and instead of supporting that reset, most people disrupt it immediately. They rush into stress, grab caffeine on an empty stomach, or skip hydration entirely. What they don't realize is that these small choices quietly increase stress hormones and make the body more likely to hold on to fat, especially around the belly. Now here's where things get even more interesting. Not all fat behaves the same way. The fat around your stomach, especially the deep fat surrounding your organs, is not just sitting there doing nothing. It's active. It releases chemicals that can affect your entire system. It can increase inflammation, interfere with your hormones, and even make it harder for your body to burn fat in the first place. That's why belly fat feels so stubborn. It's not just storage, it's part of a cycle. And that cycle is driven by three major forces that most people never think about. The first one is stress. When your body feels stressed, it releases a hormone that tells it to store energy, just in case. And unfortunately, that storage tends to happen right around your midsection. The second is how your body handles sugar. When your system struggles to process sugar properly, it ends up converting excess into fat. And the third is inflammation, the silent factor that slows everything down and blocks your body's natural ability to burn fat efficiently. Here's the frustrating part. You can exercise regularly, eat less, and still not see results if these three things are not addressed. That's why so many people feel stuck. They're doing what they've been told works, but they're missing the deeper layer of how the body actually responds. It's like trying to drive a car with the brakes slightly pressed. You're moving, but not efficiently. And over time, that lack of progress becomes exhausting. But there's a moment each day where everything can shift, a small window, right after you wake up, where your body is open, responsive, and ready to be guided. In that moment, you can either reinforce the cycle of fat storage, or you can gently push your body toward balance and fat burning. And the most surprising part is how simple that shift can be when you know what to do. Imagine starting your day not with confusion or frustration, but with intention. Imagine giving your body something that works with it instead of against it. Something that supports your system instead of stressing it. It doesn't require expensive supplements, complicated routines, or extreme changes. It starts with something simple, something you already have access to, something that quietly supports your body in the background. This is where the idea of a simple morning drink begins to make sense. Not as a miracle solution, not as a shortcut, but as a tool, a way to gently influence your body's internal environment at the exact moment it matters most. When done consistently, it becomes more than just a habit. It becomes a signal to your body. A signal that says, we're working together now, not against each other. And once you understand that, everything starts to feel different. The struggle becomes less about forcing results and more about creating the right conditions for results to happen naturally. That's the shift most people never experience, not because it's complicated, but because it's rarely explained in a way that makes sense. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. And that's where everything begins to change. Now let's slow things down and really understand what happens when you give your body the right signal first thing in the morning. Because this isn't about magic, it's about timing and response. When you wake up, your body is already slightly dehydrated. It's been hours since your last intake, and your system is waiting for input. The first thing you consume sets the tone for everything that follows. And surprisingly, something as simple as warm water can begin that shift. Warm water doesn't shock your system the way cold water can. Instead, it gently wakes up your digestion, encourages movement in your system, and helps your body transition smoothly from rest to activity. It's like easing into the day instead of being pushed into it. That alone can make a difference in how your body responds to stress and energy throughout the morning. It's subtle, but over time, those subtle shifts add up. Then comes the addition of something most people already have in their kitchen, lemon. At first glance, it seems basic, almost too simple to matter. But inside your body, it behaves very differently. It supports hydration, provides natural compounds that assist in balancing internal processes, and helps your system move toward a more stable state. It doesn't act loudly, but it works quietly, supporting the very systems that influence fat storage and energy use. Now add a small amount of apple cider vinegar, and things begin to get even more interesting. This isn't about taste, it's about response. When this enters your system, it interacts with how your body handles incoming nutrients, especially sugar. It helps your body respond more efficiently, preventing the sharp spikes and crashes that often lead to cravings and fat storage. Over time, this creates a smoother, more controlled energy flow throughout your day. Then there's cinnamon, something most people associate with flavor rather than function. But inside the body, it plays a role in how your system manages blood sugar. It supports stability, reduces sudden changes, and helps your body stay in a more balanced state. That balance is key because when your system is stable, it's far less likely to store excess energy as fat. Instead, it uses it more effectively. And if you choose to add a small pinch of cayenne, you introduce a gentle boost. Not something extreme, but enough to signal your body to slightly increase its activity. It's like turning up the internal temperature just enough to encourage movement and energy use. This isn't about burning huge amounts instantly. It's about creating a small, consistent push in the right direction. When all of these come together, something subtle but powerful happens. You're not forcing your body into anything. You're guiding it. You're giving it signals that support balance, stability, and efficiency. And because this happens at the very beginning of your day, it influences everything that comes after. Your meals, your energy levels, your cravings. All of it is affected by how your body was set up in those first moments. Think of it like setting the foundation for a building. If the foundation is stable, everything built on top of it is stronger. But if the foundation is unstable, even the best materials won't hold up over time. This morning habit becomes that foundation. It doesn't replace effort, but it makes your effort more effective. It removes some of the resistance that your body might otherwise create. And this is where most people start to notice a shift. Not overnight, not instantly, but gradually. They feel a little lighter, a little more energized, a little more in control. Their cravings start to decrease. Their energy becomes more steady. And over time, those small changes begin to reflect physically. The belly that once felt stubborn starts to respond. But the key here is consistency. Not perfection, not intensity, consistency. Doing something small, every day, that supports your body instead of fighting it. Because your body isn't broken. It's responsive. It's always reacting to what you give it. And when you start giving it the right signals, it begins to work with you in ways that feel almost surprising. That's the part most people miss. They're looking for dramatic changes, quick fixes, instant transformations. But real change often starts quietly. It starts with something simple, repeated consistently, building momentum over time. And once that momentum builds, everything else becomes easier. Here's the truth most people don't want to hear, but need to understand. No single drink, no matter how effective, can replace the way you live your life. It's not a shortcut, and it's not a cure. But what it can do is remove the friction that's been holding you back. It can support your body in ways that make everything else you do more effective. And that's where the real power lies. Imagine trying to push a heavy object across the floor. Now imagine someone comes along and removes the resistance beneath it. Suddenly, the same effort feels easier. That's what this morning habit does. It doesn't do the work for you. It makes your work count. And when your efforts start producing results, everything changes. Your motivation increases, your confidence grows, and you start to feel in control again. Most people give up not because they're incapable, but because they don't see results fast enough. They try something for a few days, maybe a week, and when nothing dramatic happens, they assume it doesn't work. But the body doesn't operate on impatience. It responds to consistency. It adapts slowly, but when it does, the changes are real and lasting. Over time, this simple routine begins to influence more than just your physical appearance. It affects how you feel when you wake up. It changes your relationship with your mornings. Instead of rushing into stress, you begin with intention. Instead of reacting to the day, you start by guiding it. That shift alone can have a ripple effect across everything you do. You might notice that your hunger feels different, not gone, but more controlled. You might find that you don't crave the same things you used to. Your energy might feel more stable, less up and down. And slowly, without forcing it, your body begins to change. Not in a dramatic, overnight way, but in a steady, believable way that feels real. And that's what makes it sustainable. Because it doesn't rely on extremes. It doesn't require you to cut everything out or push yourself to exhaustion. It works with your body, not against it. And when something feels natural, you're more likely to stick with it. That's where real transformation happens, not in intensity, but in consistency. The people who see results from this aren't the ones looking for quick fixes. They're the ones willing to show up every day, even when it feels small. They trust the process even when it's not immediately visible. And over time, that trust turns into results. Real, noticeable, lasting results. So tomorrow morning, before the noise of the day begins, take a moment. Give your body something that supports it. Something simple, something intentional. Not because it's a miracle, but because it's a step in the right direction. And when you take that step every day, it leads somewhere meaningful. Because at the end of the day, it's not about one drink. It's about the message you send to your body. It's about choosing to work with yourself instead of against yourself. And once that shift happens, everything else starts to fall into place.